Alrighty, we're back at it again. I got to cut up this big tree that we had taken down the last time and go ahead and load out all these big logs, and got to get that done before 2 o'clock. The place we usually take this stuff to while we're up on this job is open only till 2 on Saturdays. So, and then after that, got to take that big pine tree down. I'm gonna lay it out across over here, and then once we get all that stuff loaded out, then I've got the brush cutter on the S340 over there. I'm gonna mulch up some of this stuff that to some of the smaller stuff and get everything kind of neatened up and straightened up for him, and then blade all this off so it's slick and water can run off, and then he'll be good to go to get the concrete guys in here. I gotta take that stump down, so got a little bit of work to do today, but I'll try to get as much video as I can. Alrighty, well, that's a wrap for today. Still got a lot in here. I'm gonna just take the brush cutter and chip and mulch this stuff down as much as I can. I just can't. I didn't charge to clean down all of this. I was just getting that one tree, and turns out that one tree, the root ball, see what it did to the fence? It came all the way from right up there by the fence, about the same location that tree is that's about to come down. And so I just cut it off right there. There's a little creek. I cut it right there and drug it out all the way. But that sucker landed all the way right there where those trees were. So that's how big it was, and took out everything in its path. So I took out a couple trees here that I hadn't anticipated on taking out. So you know, like I was listening to, I'll have to look his name up and I'll put a link in the description, but he was saying always point out the extra stuff you do for a customer. So all this stuff right here I can get with the brush cutter on the SV40, and just kind of chip that down as best I can. I mean, it's not going to be like this where we ran it through the shredder, but it'll at least kind of mulch down a little bit better than that, and we'll spread it around some. That's the third load for today, and I'm having issues with the canopy, or the cover that goes over the top of the tarp that winds out. I don't know, been a lot of things I've not liked about the Texas Pride trailer, so I probably, if I had to do it over, I'd probably go with a Gator Made, or you know, the PJ trailers or something like that. Took this tree down today and was aiming for the right of that tree, and I did just get to the right of that tree. It was a little bit wicked, and this thing, I'll show you the hinge, it broke, but it ended up being, you can see it right there, it was rotten in the center, and it just snapped off right there in the back. So I had a good hinge going across, and it didn't break. I mean, it just separated because I didn't realize it was rotten. And thankfully I started with a plunge cut, and when I did the plunge cut in, I realized it was hollow. So if I would have started from the back and been cutting in, it probably would have barbecue on me. So I'm glad I went with a plunge cut on that. It didn't look like it was hollow, but sure enough it was. So I had to put wedges all in here to make sure that it was going to fall in the direction I wanted it to, and sure enough it did, but just barely. So I'm glad it didn't hit that big tree. I don't think it would have hurt it, it just would have bounced off of it, but I would have liked for it to be more right there instead of right there. But hey, it came down where I wanted it, nobody got hurt, and I don't know what made me do a plunge cut first to start the hinge. Something just said do a plunge cut, and I did a plunge cut, and I'd rather be lucky than good sometimes, you know. So yeah, that one made me a little bit nervous when I realized it was hollow, and it was back leaning toward that shed. So I had my wedges in there to get it leaning forward, and I really wanted to get the excavator and kind of come around the shed there and then put some pressure up on the top, up a little bit higher to get it leaning forward. But I was afraid if I did too much pressure, it would snap because it was rotten and it was hollow. So I went with that, and as soon as I cut the back, it started falling immediately, where I didn't have to persuade it or anything like that. And it just, as soon as I relieved that back, it went on over like it was supposed to. So like I said, I'd rather be lucky than good, but you can't rely on luck and that kind of sort of thing. But I am definitely glad I did a plunge cut first, because that's what I would have found out it was hollow when it was too late, and it might have barber-chaired on me. So we got a little bit of cleaning up. I'm gonna spread this stuff we chipped out and kind of mow that stuff down with a brush cutter and chip it up as much as we can. And got the yard all cleaned up. So that's load 3 going out today. The other 2 were, one was half brush and some big logs. The other one was pure logs. And I think I was probably right at 5 tons on logs. So very pleased with what we got done today. We'll come back out on Monday. I'll finish cutting that tree up, and we'll have to load out the brush that's left over from it. But I'll load out that brush and that tree, and then, you know, just mulch this stuff down as best I can, spread everything around, clean up, and leave the SV40 out here and come get it the next day. All right, well, that's a wrap for today. Y'all have a good one.